Hello friends, how are you? Now we will see the next topic from the autocoids, that is prostaglandins, thromboxanes and leukotrienes. So these are the three components which are derived from the lipids, and combinedly they are also called as eicosanoids. So learning outcome for this topic is that upon completion of these sessions, the learners will be able to define and describe the synthesis, source and metabolism of prostaglandin, thromboxane and leukotriene. They can differentiate between the different types of prostaglandin, thromboxane and leukotrienes and their receptors and their action. They can also predict the pharmacotherapy of these analogs, and they can explain the mechanism of various drugs used as an agonist and antagonist, like prostaglandin and agonist, antagonist, thromboxane agonist, antagonist, and leukotriene agonist and antagonist. Now, what is eicosanoids? So, combined together, this prostaglandin, leukotriene, and thromboxanes, they are termed as eicosanoids. They are the lipid-derived autocoids. They are derived from the phospholipids, though they are also called as a lipid-derived autocoids. They are biologically active as well as therapeutically also they are effective. Their analogs are therapeutically effective. It is a 20 carbon polyunsaturated fatty acid. These belongs to a polyunsaturated fatty acid, and oxidation, these are the group which are oxidation product of the PUFA, polyunsaturated fatty acid. They are mainly found in flaxseed, soya bean, wheat, gram, walnut, fish oils. Other than human, they are also found. Definitely, they are also found in the human mast cells and all these things. So these all three the autocoids, they are found. These are the various sources of these autocoids. As far as synthesis is concerned, synthesis of prostaglandin and thromboxane is done by the cyclooxygenase pathway. There are two isomers of cyclooxygenase, COX-1 and COX-2. It is also known as. They lead to the. They are a byproduct of arachidonic acid. The formation of prostaglandins from the arachidonic acid. COX-1 is found in normal mast cells, whereas COX-2 is released in response to the inflammation produced by the cytokinins. They are also produced in the kidney and brain. COX-1 generally does the housekeeping activity of the cell, vascular hemostasis, maintenance of the GI and renal blood flow, renal function, platelet, etc. So these functions are done by the COX-1, whereas the COX-2 is responsible for synthesis of prostaglandin and thromboxanes. Next is for the synthesis of leukotrienes. Lipooxygenase pathway is there. So main product after the lipooxygenase pathway is a leukotriene. They operate mainly in the lungs, WBCs and platelet. This lipooxygenase pathway. They are largely released during the anaphylactic shock. So this lipooxygenase pathway is mainly activated during the anaphylactic shock. So therefore there is a large release of the leukotrienes. There are principally four isomers of these leukotrienes which are found. These are also known as epoxy, eicosanoic acid, four isomers. These epoxy isomers are unstable and rapidly then converted into dihydroxy eicosanoic acid isomers. Both these EET, that is epoxy and dihydroxy isomers, are incorporated in the phospholipid and stored at the storage site. So these ET and DHET, they are vasodilator and therefore in the vascular bed they causes the vasodilation, and which is ultimately leading to the fail in the blood pressure. So these are the pathways which are responsible for the synthesis of these eicosanoids. The membrane phospholipids are converted to arachidonic acid by phospholipase A, that's activation by mechanical chemical stimulation. These arachidonic acid then by the cyclooxygenase pathway are converted to various prostaglandin and thromboxanes. So arachidonic acid by cyclooxygenase pathways leading to the various isomers of prostaglandin and thromboxane, whereas through the lipooxygenase pathway they are converted into leukotrienes. So arachidonic acid is the main precursor for the synthesis of prostaglandin, thromboxane and leukotriene by the different pathway. These two pathways are cyclooxygenase pathway and the lipooxygenase pathway. As far as the prostaglandins is concerned, these are the group of structurally related compounds. Each have a potent and specific biological actions. They are found in autocrine and paracrine lipid mediators. They principally act on the gastrointestinal tract, uterus, platelets, vascular endothelial, mast cell, etc. They are divided into three major sub-series like PG1, PG2 and PG3. These are the sub-series of prostaglandins. Structurally, they are different types of. In previous slide, we have already seen. These are the number of indicator. This PG1, PG2, PG3 indicates the number of double bonds which are present in that. So several prostaglandins have a good potential for the therapeutic actions. They are used for the management of different disorders inside our body. Then as far as the leukotriene is concerned, they are from the lipoxygenase pathway by converted to the hydroxy derivatives. Then this hydroxy derivative is conjugated with glutathione and then undergoes a sequential degradation. So from lipoxygenase to hydroxy derivative, then conjugation and degradation. These continuously they are called as A, B, C, and D. Like lipoxygenase, this is A4. Then after hydroxy derivative B4, then after conjugation with a glutathione, they are termed as a C4. Whereas after the degradation, they are termed as a D4. So amongst these, the glutathione conjugated product and degraded product are having a potent bronchoconstriction action, and slowly they reacted responsible for the anaphylactic reactions. So there are two isomers of these lipoxygens. They are A4 and B4. So lipoxygenase or leukotrienes, they plays an important role in the inflammation process. They are the inflammogenic substances which are released in the body. And as far as the thromboxane third derivative or third not isomer, we can say a third eicosanoid which is released is the thromboxane. It is also formed from the PGH and is action of thromboxane synthetase from the by the action of thromboxane synthetase. So it is A2 derivative is a platelet aggregator and vasoconstriction. It produces the weak spasmogenic action, and the action is antagonized by the aspirin, that is platelet aggregation is prevented. So thromboxane is a platelet aggregator, and by the action of the aspirin it is antagonized over there. As far as these prostaglandin receptors are concerned, there are different types of receptors for the prostaglandin. They are termed as EP, FP, IP, TP and DP. Okay. So EP receptor, FP receptor, IP receptor, TP receptor and DP receptor, which are responsible for prostaglandin. So these these receptors are G protein receptor which are present on the cell surface. So corresponding ligands for this prostaglandin ligands are definitely depending upon their name itself they are indicated, that is E2, F2 or I2. So like here we can say PGD2 activates the DP receptor. PG is D type, so therefore it will activate the D receptor, DP receptor. So PGE2 activate EP receptor. So PGF2 activate FP receptor, whereas PGI2 activates IP receptor. So there are four types of EP receptor having designated activity on the receptor. Stimulation and inhibition of EP adenyl cyclase stimulate the phospholipase C. So these are the actions of this mediated by this prostaglandin receptor, different prostaglandin receptor. As far as this effect of prostaglandin on various system is concerned, on the cardiovascular system, this E1 and E2 elicited the vasodilation, and this vasodilation lead to the drop in blood pressure. So E1 and E2 receptor mediated prostaglandin effect in the CVS is vasodilation. Blood vessels will be dilated, and due to dilation of blood vessel, there is a fall in the blood pressure. So I2 also causes the relaxation of smooth muscle and fall in the blood pressure with reflex tachycardia. This hypotensive effect of I2 is more than that of E2 and D2. E2 mediated and D2 mediated actions are not as much that of I2. So D2 also has the vasodilation and causes the fall in blood pressure. So principally prostaglandin causes the vasodilation and fall in the blood pressure. Next is the platelet actions on platelet. Thromboxane predominantly present in the platelets. See, they promote the aggregation of a platelet. So these actions are opposed by prostaglandin. Thromboxane promote the platelet aggregation, whereas prostaglandin inhibits the platelet aggregations. So there is an interplay between pro and anti-aggregating activity between the prostaglandin and thromboxane. Depending upon that, which is a predominant eicosanoid over here, will get the pro action or anti action of the platelet aggregation. So as far as this prostaglandins or eicosanoids playing an important role in the inflammation and immunity, this is one of the major role which is played by these eicosanoids over here. Prostaglandins and leukotrienes, they are responsible for infection. They are responsible and released during the infection, mechanical, thermal or chemical injury, and participate in inflammation. So inflammation procedure or inflammation is induced by the prostaglandins and leukotrienes. They also attract the pro-inflammatory cells, that is cells which are responsible for the inflammation process, that is polymorphs, monocytes and eosinophils. So they attract these pro-inflammatory cells. Then leukotrienes also promotes the adhesion of neutrophil to the vascular endothelial, resulting in synthesis of inflammatory cytokinins and macrophages and lymphocytes. They promote the adhesion of the neutrophil during the inflammation process up to the vascular endothelial. It is also promoted by the leukotrienes. Now, prostaglandin E2 and I2 enhances the edema by increasing the blood flow and enhances the action of bradykinin. They enhances the edema, accumulation of a fluid. They will be enhances by the prostaglandin E2 and I2. And this is due to the its action, enhanced action of a bradykinin, which is responsible also for the production of a pain and inflammation. Prostaglandin generally inhibit the lymphocyte function and proliferation and suppress the immunity. So they suppress the immunity by inhibiting the lymphocyte function and proliferation. E2 also, prostaglandin E2 also the differentiation of beta B lymphocyte cell into the antibody secreting plasma cells. So differentiation of the cell, one cell is converted to other cell. This differentiation is inhibited by the E2. It also activates the T lymphocyte, inhibiting the mitogen stimulation proliferation and thereby releasing the sensitizing cells. Prostaglandin D2 is a major chemoattractant and eosinophils and induces the chemotaxis. As far as the effect of these prostaglandins on smooth muscle is concerned, they produces uh, 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 they are produced by the many prostaglandins and leukotrienes in the bronchi. Mast cells linings, they are produced in the mast cell lining. Respiratory patches are also found in the sources of a leukotriene. So activation of these leukotrienes and prostaglandin lead to the bronchoconstriction, and they are the potent mediator of the bronchial asthma. So induction of a bronchial asthma is done by this prostaglandin and leukotrienes. Or we can say during the bronchial asthma, the prostaglandin and leukotrienes are largely released. So mostly from the mast cells of the respiratory passage. So prostaglandin F2 or thromboxane A2 are the main responsible behind that. They are potent bronchoconstrictor. Even E2 or I2 are the potent bronchodilator amongst these. Okay. Aspirin and non-steroidal anti-inflammatory produces bronchospasm by inhibiting the cyclooxygenase pathway and facilitate the activation of a leukotriene pathway indirectly. So non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, they are mainly termed that they are having the side effect as they precipitate the bronchial asthma. So by inhibiting the cyclooxygenase pathway, they inhibit the synthesis of E1, E2 and I1, so which are potent vasodilator, and by this way the balance between these prostaglandins will be disturbed and we will get the side effect as a bronchoconstriction. As far as the effect of this prostaglandin on gastrointestinal tract is concerned, the E1 and prostaglandin E1 and prostaglandin E2 inhibit the basal and stimulated the stimulated gastric acid secretion. So they are responsible for normal as well as stimulated gastric acid secretions will be inhibited. So E2 derived misoprostol is used for peptic ulcer and cytoprotective agent. So in above condition, E1 and E2, they are responsible for gastric acid, and misoprostol is the derivative of that. So mucosal integrity is maintained by increasing the production of mucin and bicarbonate and increasing the mucosal blood flow. As far as the action of this is concerned, E2 and F2 stimulate the uterine smooth muscle during the pregnancy. Then the actions of this prostaglandin in kidney is concerned, they are autoregulations of the kidney functions. Their major prostaglandin which are produced in the renal cortex are E2 and I2. E2 and I2 are the main prostaglandin which are produced in the renal cortex. They increases the glomerular filtration by vasodilation action. They maintain the renal tubular function and facilitate the elimination of the sodium and water. Then the actions of these prostaglandin on CNS, mainly they act on afferent nerve ending, causing the pain when injected transdermally near to that nerve, and then they are less intense than that of a bradykinin and histamine when they are injected. Hyperalgesia is also produced by the leukotriene. Leukotriene produces the hyperalgesia. That is nothing but your pain. Then the pyrogen mediated fever, it is also mediated through the prostaglandin E2. So, we are knowing very well that pyrogen is maybe present in a large volume parenteral, and which is responsible for the elevated body temperature, and it is mediated, that it is known that it is mediated through the E2 receptors. It is also acting as a neurotransmitter, inhibit the release of noradrenaline for post-ganglionic sympathetic nerve transmitter. It is acting also it is acting and it inhibit the release of the noradrenaline. So in the eye, prostaglandin also reduces the intraocular pressure, enhances outflow of aqueous humor. So outflowing of the aqueous humor, so in the many conditions of the eye, they will be used. Then next to it, the applications of these prostaglandins and their derivatives. Mainly these prostaglandin and their derivatives are principally they are used in abortion. Prostaglandin E2 and F2 are the potent cytotoxic, so they are used in medical termination of a pregnancy. They are also used in the mid-term termination of pregnancy, like in a first semester or trimester. Prostaglandin also softens the cervix by increasing the proteoglycan content. The proteoglycan content of the cervix is increased, and thereby they softens the cervix, which is responsible for the termination or pregnancy termination. Then ductus artericus, the ductus artericus is nothing but the septum in between the right auricle and left auricle, which is open during the fetal condition of the baby, and when after born it will be spontaneously closed. So if it remains open at that condition, the prostaglandin might be used over there. Ductus artericus is closed spontaneously, we are knowing, after the birth of child, but if it is not, then it will lead to the during the premature. If the childbirth is premature, then it does not block over there. And by inhibiting the prostaglandin, indomethacin is given, which is inhibitor of the prostaglandin. This condition can be overcome. As far as this action or the uses of this prostaglandin is concerned, misoprostol is an orally active synthetic analog of PGE1, which is we have already seen that is used in the reduction of the gastric acid secretion and peptic ulcer. These are used, given orally when needed a protection from the NSAIDs induced side effect. So NSAIDs elevate the gastrointestinal acidity that can be reduced by this misoprostol. In the treatment of duodenal ulcer or gastric ulcer, this can be used. Then in the treatment of glaucoma, these are also given. PGF2 alpha analog is used in the treatment of glaucoma. They reduces the intraocular pressure by facilitating the drainage of aqueous humor from the anterior chamber. So drainage of aqueous humor will be facilitated by these analogs, and by that way it reduces the intraocular pressure. As far as the adverse effect of this PG and PG analogs are concerned, they produces the most pronounced gastrointestinal side effect, that is vomiting, abdominal cramp, diarrhea. These are the common side effect. Then headache, elevated body temperature, pain at the site of injection. These are the typical side effect of the prostaglandin analogs. So that's what about the eicosanoids. Thank you, my dear students. If you have any difficulty, these are my contact details. You can contact me at any time. Thank you. Thank you very much.